We're going to call the Wednesday, April 25th, 2018 meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Glade?
Here.
Lazier?
Here.
Patterson?
Here.
Katie here. Schott?
Here.
Trustee Glade?
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda for under item 4, presentation, letter A. Is anybody here from the Senior Alliance? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to remove that. I did get an email earlier today that they may not be able to make it, so.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 5 is approval of the consent agenda.
So moved. Support.
Roll call, please.
Schott?
Yep.
Patterson?
Yes.
Trustee Glade?
Yes.
Lazier?
Yes.
Katie, yes. Supervisor Glade?
Yes. We'll open up the meeting to brief public comments. Anybody wishing to come forward, now would be the time to do so. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Denise Conley, 26235 Denning Street, New Boston. As you guys are aware, we had the drain fixed down our road. I think it's been a year ago, and we're having a lot of problems. I brought some pictures in for you guys to look at. One of the neighbors went to the township today, and we was told to call the Spicer Group. We didn't hire the Spicer Group. You guys did. So I want you to look at these.
We can look at those after. We're not going to look at those now. We'll be happy to look at those after the meeting, ma'am. So right now, we're just taking comments.
Well, I can't stay for the whole meeting.
Well, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to move on. This isn't a time for presentation,
Okay.
unfortunately. But we're happy to look
Well,
into
can I
the
just
matter.
have somebody look at them?
Well, yeah, but right now, the board is conducting other business, you
Well,
know.
we went to the township today, and we was told there. We didn't get nowhere there.
Okay, well, I'm just saying is, we'll look into your issue, no question about it, but now is not the time to be doing what we're doing.
Is this public comment?
It's a public comment, but it's not a presentation,
Do
so.
I not have 3 minutes?
Ma'am, I'm just saying is, we'll look into your issue. We're not ignoring it at all. I'm just saying is, now's not the time to be, you know,
When
doing
are
a
you
presentation.
When are you going to look into it? Because there's been a lot of people complaining about it. I know one neighbor just spent $90 today on a front-end alignment for this.
Okay. Like I said, we'll be happy to look at it, no question about it.
Okay, is somebody going to call? Or
If
because
you
when
want,
we call up,
you can email
we
me.
do not get phone calls back.
Okay.
If you email me the pictures, I will forward them to every
I
board
will.
member. And
Okay.
if you can send them tonight, they'll have them before bedtime.
Okay.
Okay. Well, okay, I'll comment what little I know about it. I'll comment on my reports, which might be helpful, but thank you for that. Anybody else wishing to come forward?
Was that the Belden drain?
Yes.
Is that the Belden drain? Okay.
The drain that we paid $5,900, we got more water than the other.
Okay.
That brings us to item 10 under new business. Item 10 is the Wayne County Township Roads Initiative. In front of you is something that the county requires of us to participate in this particular program. This road initiative is one of these rare things that come along once in a while whereby the county will put money on the table if the township will match. Again, it's one of these very rare things. They will actually contribute 80% of the project if we match the 20. Other townships are participating in this as well. I was talking to Clerk Katie earlier today. The timing of our approval of this is rather important because other townships are the bigger townships are trying to get more money from the pot. So it's imperative we get our commitment in to the Wayne County Commission for approval so we can get that money committed. The program is outlined in your materials. Originally, it was for $1 million, and we were able to get an additional $338,000. So That's a good amount of money that'll help us fund some improvements to the Huron River Drive area in town. You may recall that we had a water main replacement project there. And part of our commitment back to the county is to repair the road and the curbs and the area that we disrupted during that process. We wanted to make sure we tried to leverage the monies into that restoration by not just throwing good money after bad and repairing areas that were literally just falling apart. So this is some seed money that allows us to make some serious improvements there and also fulfill our obligation to make the necessary repairs to the county roads and curbs that we disrupted during our water main replacement project. So that's the program. If there's any questions or comments, now would be the time we can address
Under
those.
discussion, probably.
Actually, we can entertain a motion. And
I'll move to approve the participation in the Wayne County Township Roads Initiative Program as presented.
Support.
Okay, discussion?
Yes. Okay, so I think that this is wonderful. I mean, the amount of money that we only have to pay out of that is very good. However, I don't understand what what this says for design cost.
Yeah, all that.
Well, because if you're just resurfacing road, what design is in there?
No, the point about that is that that's language that comes right out of the county process. When the county reimburses our 20%, like with a lot of projects, it doesn't include you can't build in your design and of engineering and those type of things into your 20%.
So there's design with just resurfacing a road?
Sure there is.
Sure, Jim, you want to address how the engineering comes into that?
Yeah, there's several issues with that. Wayne County, for example, where we had the water main breaks and things like that, Wayne County will not just let you just go in there and hire a contractor to repair it. What they make you do is they make you draw details of every section that you're going to replace, including the cross sections, the elevations there, and that. And then every section that's got to be replaced has to be surveyed in, shown where it's going to be replaced, and we have to present them with a map showing every location. Any areas that would be completely reconstructed, where there's, like say a long area where the road's just really bad and they tell you to reconstruct the whole area, then we have to prepare a whole plan for that on what needs to be reconstructed in that as well.
Does this include the curbs too?
Yeah, this will include everything, yeah.
So our percent's going to include resurfacing the road and the curbs?
Yeah, there's going to be sections where we have to replace sections of pavement, and then they have, and each area will be different. In areas where it's just concrete, we can go back with just concrete. When areas where it's concrete with asphalt, then we have to prepare a section with the thickness of the concrete as well as the thickness of the asphalt. And then also areas wherever we're going to do curb and gutter or any of that stuff. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. You answer.
I've seen some concept drawings of this, and the concept was to have all the power lines buried in the ground,
Yes,
too.
there's going to be an area that's not say a done deal or anything like that, but one of the proposals is to bury underground utilities, the overhead lines along Huron River Drive from Hannon Road to Violet, put those underground. And one of the other things we're looking at is getting grant money to prepare a walkway or a pedestrian access from the Waltz Bridge once that's completed, all the way from that Metro Park to the Metro Park over by the railroad tracks. And as part of that, they have grants out there that will help pay for that. It's called I forget trails. And then that'll be part. That's also something we're looking at doing as well. So there's several options, but all that will come back to the board, and we'll figure out where what's going to take place and what we want to do. So none of that's a done deal. or
Oh, okay,
anything.
so all
What
of
this
that's
does,
gonna-
it gets us, it lets us tell the county we're interested in this partnership. It gets them to commit the funds so that they
Okay.
don't start to make other plans for it. So what we basically do is guarantee this funding source. And then,
Okay.
we're going to continue to work on the details and bring that forward. But this locks up the funding source.
So anything other than the resurfacing would come back to the
That's right.
board?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
When do they plan on starting that? Do you got any idea?
What's that?
The resurfacing, Sibley to the,
None of that will, none of it's even in design or anything yet. So like Supervisor Glade said, until we tell them we're actually gonna, we're actually willing to accept the money and that, then that's when we'll start coming up with ideas. of what-
The other thing that what we want to do, Trustee Patterson, we want to time those improvements too, because, and I'll report on the bridge, well, maybe I'll do that now, but so in meeting with the county and making sure we're on track time-wise for the construction of the bridge, what we want to make sure is we time it in such a way that all that bridge work is complete. There's going to be a lot of heavy equipment, cranes, et cetera, and so, which is going to be problematic. And so what we're trying to do is line things up so that the bridge work is completed before we do any of these type of things, because again, you could improve something and then just go back over it and smash it and then crush it, the heavyweight trucks, and it's just a poor use of resources, of course. So it's all a matter of timing, but this gets the money committed, and it's one thing that, when working with the county, it's important that we send our resolution to them so that they can pass it at their commission level. That money is allocated and set aside for the specific purposes, and then we can work out the entire plan, so.
I just want to make sure we're not going to vote to create another closure in the downtown New Boston area. Are they going to have to close the road now? Bridge is going to open, and then we turn around and close the road?
Yeah, the good thing about the road construction is they normally can always keep a lane open, and unlike a bridge, it's pretty limited. But yeah, that's very important.
and what can be done with that intersection, Jim, with those car haulers going around that Sibley here in River Drive?
Sibley here on River Drive intersection.
You got the two homes right there in the corner there.
Yeah, I mean, what happens with any kind of, because they are county roads, the county's gonna dictate everything that happens as far as, what can be done, all that stuff. So it really won't even be, they're gonna tell us how they want the design done.
But on that, in just extending on your remarks, Jim, one of the things that we've been working with the township engineers on is what we would like to try to do is restrict the type of traffic on, especially once we improve these roads. Obviously, we want to be very protective of them. We want these things to last a long time, like we do our bridge. As such, we want to make sure that we're enforcing weight limits and making sure the only vehicles that are supposed to be on these type of roads are. So you have an enforcement side, right, Chief? Yes, sir. But then you also have a classification component to this. So one of the good ideas that the township engineers brought forward is looking at how the different roads are classified in that area. And what we plan on doing is meeting with our representatives of the county to see if those classifications make sense. We would try to restrict the heaviest of traffic from going through that area, and which has a tremendous impact on the roads and the bridge. So we want these things to last long. So all those things kind of come to bear to make sure that we do it in a timely way, and we don't cause damage to a brand-new road or curb, things of that nature. So, any questions of our engineer? Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that explanation. Got a motion and a support.
I believe we should probably roll call because of the dollar amount.
Yeah, let's do the
Resolution.
resolution format, absolutely. If you'll call the roll, please, Mr. Katie.
Lazier,
Yes.
KDS, Supervisor Glabe,
Yes.
Shant,
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Trustee Glabe.
Yes.
We have the, under 10B, a request to hire part-time firefighter, Joseph Abel. Director Robbins?
Yes, sir. The board should have received his application and resume in your email. As presented, I'm requesting that we hire part-time firefighter Joseph Abel. He's currently a licensed paramedic. He will fill the role of part-time firefighter. He will be available to fill open shifts and shifts that are open primarily on the weekends. So as presented, I would recommend that we hire Mr. Abel.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for that. Again, we'll open up the meeting to public comments. Yes, Ruth?
Will the township have input on the design of the roads and sidewalks and all that good stuff?
Sure.
All right, and is that part also of what the Downtown Development Committee was talking about, to bury the lines, remove the light posts, and improve the sidewalks and the road and all that stuff?
It's got a part of that big
Because that was
picture.
a government grant.
Yeah, so as Jim was mentioning, we're actually working on a lot of different sources for improvements.
Well, you wouldn't fix the roads one way and then tear them up and do them another way, so
That's
it
what
would work in conjunction, I
That's
would
what
guess.
that's exactly right. That's where we don't want to do, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So that's why we want to try to bring a lot of different funding sources to bear, do these things in the right time. Because you can't put something in and rip it out and do it again, and it's just a
And that would
proper
be
way of
dumb.
doing it.
But anyways, also, they mentioned in that development that they would have bikes able to ride down Huron River Drive. Now, we have thousands of miles or hundreds of miles of bike trails, and the bike trail goes from Metro Park over by the railroad tracks. Now, why don't they just use that?
Well,
We don't want
Without-
bikes on the road.
well, one of the things that, some of the different issues about that is, one, when we look at creating a downtown where the restaurants are thriving and the ice cream shops are thriving and things, what you try to do is you try to bring people into your downtown. And by say, encouraging people on the bike trail to come in town to patronize the stores and that's helpful in that regard. The other thing is it's 25 miles an hour through town, so it's one of those areas that actually makes sense for bikes.
I don't know that I could ride 25 miles an hour on a bike.
Well,
No, cars speed limit.
as opposed to these bike trails I've seen on Northwestern Highway, which that's just insane to me. But at any rate, when we talk about funding sources, one of the things, one of the pots of money today happened to revolve a lot around bike trails, walking trails, things of that nature. And by encouraging some access to town from the bike path, that opens up some funding avenues.
So that's a
that could-
requirement in part of,
Well, that's one
The grant.
tool that we have to be able to look for other funding sources to bring that into the one project and make, and leverage it up to increase the size and scope of the improvements that we can make. So you're not going to have an influx of, it's not going to look like the Tour de France, for sure. But it will, at best, have some chevrons on the pavement that indicate this also serves as a bike lane and to share the lane with the cars, so.
okay, thank you.
Good evening, Candace Majak on behalf of Historical Commission. I just want to remind everybody out there, we ran a series, we've been working to reorganize the museum. We ran a series of mysteries in the museum, trying to do a shout out to any residents who might have donated items that we don't have records for. Just wanted to remind everybody, our last in the series is this upcoming Monday on April 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. The historical house is located at 37236 Huron River Drive. So just hoping some folks can come out and help us to identify anything that might have been donated that contains local history or anything like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Childs.
Tom Childs, 19551 Middlebelt Road. My daughter read an article from Wayne County Roads this afternoon to me over the phone. So they say they're going to start the bridge in August and be done in November. They also said they're working on South Huron River Drive in October. So we can't have them two in conjunction with each other, especially Apple Fest. Because that South Huron River Drive's like the main vein for town right now, and I hope somebody looks into it and makes sure that ain't happening.
You're absolutely right, and that's one of the things we are working with them on is timing and coordination, so.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Mary Collins, 17437 Ava Court. In talking about the bridge, when is the bridge even going to be started? One time you hear it, one time today, now this is strictly rumor, they weren't supposed to start until 2019. Now that goes out in a rumor into the community, and people get upset. I mean, I have people, Mayor, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I always say, come up to the board meetings and start yelling like crazy. Somebody has got to start that damn bridge sooner or later. And the later it was supposed to be done by the end of the year. Well, if they don't hurry up and get to that bridge, it's not going to be done till the end of the year. And I'm assuming that under Freedom of Information, I can get the number of the person or persons at the Wayne County that is in charge of the bridge, and also the the company that's constructing it.
You don't have to FOIA that. I can give that to you before you leave.
Okay, because
Well, they
I don't know if anybody else is not raising heck about it. I'm going to start raising heck about it. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So you got the county contact number for?
Yeah, Director Beverly Watts is the DPS director.
Well, I'll get that information for you. Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else wishing to come forward? Okay. Moving on, any comments from the Board of Trustees tonight?
Just
Treasurer Lazare?
for Mike, at the LDFA meeting, did they say anything about Bros with the issue with the title? Are they getting that, or? I remember you said a couple months ago.
It was part of the discussion. I believe they've had a meeting since our meeting at the Manufacturer Bros, and that's the major topic. I think they've made significant progress on that. I haven't heard the final verdict, but I know they're working on it.
All right.
Mr. Katie?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to our finance director, Karen Carney, and Supervisor Glabe for helping with the dog clinic on Saturday. It went well. We did about, I think, 27 licenses and vaccinations. The one thing I heard from a lot of people there is they asked if we could possibly start it earlier in the day rather than from 12 to 2. There was quite a few people that asked if we'd start earlier in the morning, so maybe that's something the board would want to consider for the next event. That's it.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.